I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty well versed in all the current controversy surrounding Blizzard. Good chance you know more about it than I do. However, on the off chance that you don't, and just to make sure that we're all on the same page, quick recap. In October of 2019, a professional Hearthstone player who goes by the name Blitzchung expressed his support for the pro-democracy protests going on in Hong Kong while on an official esports broadcast. In response to this, Blizzard immediately suspended Blitzchung for a year from any tournaments, revoked the prize money that he had already earned, and also cut off all ties with the shoutcasters who were conducting the interview at the time. A little while later, they reduced the length of that suspension to a 6-month period, and announced that Blitzchung would be given the prize money that he was already owed. They did nothing about their ban of the shoutcasters, however, and did keep a suspension in place for Blitzchung. This is by no means a comprehensive breakdown of the events. The whole thing was messy and complicated by a lot of weird and unexpected legal factors, not to mention the social pressure, and I highly encourage anybody with any questions about this whole thing to do some research for themselves and learn more about the events as they unfolded. This whole process was seen by many, myself included, as Blizzard caving in to the Chinese government so as not to lose out on the incredible profit that can be made in the Chinese market. This was, of course, coming at a time when similar things were happening to other industries and other companies, most notably the NBA. For Blizzard, however, the timing was of particular note, given that BlizzCon was right around the corner. With people planning protests, not to mention the fact that BlizzCon last year didn't really go so great for Blizzard, the general consensus online was that we didn't really know how BlizzCon was going to go and what to expect, but that it was probably going to be worth tuning in for. But now, BlizzCon is over, and Blizzard knocked it out of the park with huge announcements. And more importantly, we can all move on because they apologized for the whole Blitzchung fiasco. But here's the thing. They didn't. And we really shouldn't let them off the hook that easily. Hi, thanks for stopping by. Before we dive too far into everything, I want to backtrack a little bit and explain my relationship with Blizzard and their games so you know where my opinion is coming from and how it's informed. I am hardly a Blizzard mega fan. I have almost negative interest in playing WoW, and my only experience with the Diablo franchise was playing Diablo 3 with a friend briefly on console. I did not care for it. But Blizzard has also produced a lot of games that I did love. Warcraft 2 was basically my introduction to strategy games, and was something that I bonded with my stepdad over. Warcraft 3 blew my mind as a kid, and I spent a lot of time with a friend trying to learn to get good at that game, a feat that I never really accomplished. But Overwatch, oh man. I love superheroes, and Overwatch immediately caught my attention with a snappy, tight art style that evoked 4-color comic books, while still maintaining a sleek, modern, and original design. Overwatch was the game that broke me out of a lifelong distaste for first-person shooters. I lavishly soaked in the characters and lore. I waited impatiently for the next cinematic, the next glimpse into this vast world that the game itself only teased at. Most importantly, however, I shared Overwatch with my friends. We waited for those cinematics together. Anytime a new character was announced or a new trailer dropped, our group chat exploded with a flurry of, "Oh my god, that looks so sick," or "Wow, that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play," or "Oh my god, that ult looks like it's going to be annoying." Overwatch was the game that we would all consistently agree was a good choice to play tonight. We'd look over our skins while we were on group chat waiting for the game to queue up, noticing how little details in this alternate costume hinted at a piece of character lore or backstory that we hadn't noticed before. We'd excitedly go over the maps while we were playing and tell each other, "Wow guys, I found Genji's room," or "Wow, now that Doomfist is out, his gauntlet is missing from the payload," or my personal favorite, "Wow, the shuriken and arrows from that Genji Hanzo video are on the Hanamura map. This game is amazing." We'd marvel together about how any different team composition would result in unique dialogue, as any two characters were given to start chatting about their shared history and the world that they live in together. So many of my good gaming memories with my friends were in these tense battles of Overwatch, where we went into overtime on the third game, stuck in the point, and pulled off some clever tactics to steal the win. I think I can honestly say that I love Overwatch. Even if not for the game itself, then for the structure it built for my friends and I to have incredible times together. As a matter of fact, right up until the Blitzchung controversy, I still had it installed on my PS4. I don't anymore. Also, yes, I play first-person shooters on a console. I'm a pleb. I get it. So, despite myself, I was and am really excited for the announcement of Overwatch 2. In many ways, it seems like the full game that Overwatch promised it was going to be, and always should have been. The narrative is finally being advanced, the lore and characters and story that we've fallen in love with over the years finally moving forward and paying off. We finally get to see the team answer Winston's call. But the stuff that I find so exciting about Overwatch 2 is the very same stuff that I find so off-putting about it. So, let's dive in. First off, let's get messy. Blizzard is a huge company with a lot of people working under it. Trying to put the blame on Blizzard is incredibly difficult. We saw reports that people from the company were protesting the company's actions, covering up slogans like Think Globally and Every Voice Matters that adorn a statue outside of Blizzard headquarters, in order to signify that while the company might espouse these lofty beliefs, they don't practice what they preach. Beyond that, there's the classic divide between game developers and executives. There are people there who no doubt just want to make good games for people to enjoy and play, just as there are other people whose job it is to maximize profit. We all know how business works. Assumedly, given how many people work at Blizzard, there are genuinely good people there who believe in the company's slogans and what the company promotes. Just as there are assumedly a handful of people there who just cynically see promoting those ideals as a way to make more money. A lot of different people work at Blizzard, and it is not my intention to paint all of them with the same brush. Which means, of course, that it can be tempting to buy the games and get invested in the hype in order to support the people who are making the games and just want to entertain us, while at the same time reserving your disdain for the company of Blizzard. I argue that this is dangerous thinking. Money flows upward. If they don't get enough money, it is the development teams, not the company itself, they're going to suffer. But if they do make enough money, well, Bobby Kotick didn't become a billionaire by making video games. It can start to feel like you can't win. And if you can't win anyway, why not at least buy the game and enjoy it? I just encourage you to think about the ramifications. For you and me, this is a decision of whether or not to spend our money on an entertainment product that we might enjoy. But for the people of Hong Kong, this is a chance for us, in an admittedly small way, to show our support. Buying any of these games sends the message that our entertainment is more important than human lives and personal freedoms. The reason Blizzard did what they did was to keep Chinese money. So don't give them ours. I mentioned before that I love superheroes, and I really do. I love them. Not just the super, though. Not just the powers and the costumes, though those are admittedly really cool, but the heroes. The noble quality of character that sees someone decide to do the right thing regardless of risk or personal consequence. Spider-Man is my favorite hero. Not just because his costume is awesome, which it is, and not just because he can climb walls and shoot webs, which I think is really cool, but because Peter Parker is a character who believes so strongly that he has to do the right thing that he will, no matter the consequence to himself. He's a hero because he is someone we can look up to as an example, someone who teaches us to be better people, someone who shows us the value of selflessness. These are the kinds of heroes I love. Captain America, Superman. Characters who know the right thing and pursue it. Heroes who protect the innocent before punishing the wicked. I'm the dork who plays D&D and always wants to play heroes. I always go to good alignment, I default to paladins, to paragons of virtue. To knights in shining armor who arrive to ease troubled hearts and inspire hope and courage in others. I like heroes. I have no problem admitting that the Overwatch 2 announcement video, 0 Hour, brought me to tears. Seeing an understaffed team of heroes who are so dedicated to doing the right thing that they are flying into danger anyway is so powerful. Seeing a hero, even a genetically engineered super ape, stand up to an impossible threat in order to buy his friends time to escape, while those friends know deep down that it's a sacrifice play, is moving. And when the cavalry arrives and they save the day by working together, it is glorious and triumphant. But the game is owned, developed, and published by Blizzard. Overwatch is a team that was outlawed. They have been disbanded, and arriving there to save the day is illegal. They are risking prosecution when they answer Winston's call. But they believe it is the right thing to do, so they arrive, they stand together, and they protect people who have said that they do not want their protection. Because that is what heroes do. And yet, when a pro gamer was given a platform to call out something in the world that he sees as unjust, when he saw that he had an opportunity to use the positive power of video games to spread a message of freedom, to be, in his own way, a hero, Blizzard shut him down, shut him up, and punished him. Presumably, because they want the almighty dollar. And that is what really disgusts me about this whole problem. Now that Blizzard has been tested and failed, I can only view them in the most cynical light. As a company that specifically wants to evoke hopefulness and a belief in heroes and doing the right thing, while spitting all over that ideology if it will help make them money. And Blizzard has been pushing this narrative for years. Warcraft, Diablo, obviously Overwatch. All of these games are about heroes and about fighting back oppressive, tyrannical villains. Obviously, corporate entities exist to make money. But when they do that by evoking and exploiting specific emotions and ideologies, and making something specifically a part of their culture, then it somehow feels more treacherous when they fail to uphold those ideals. We could have believed that Blizzard was a good place. We know that's not true anymore. I'd like to think that Diva, an Overwatch character who famously plays video games, wouldn't be buying Overwatch 2. And then there was J. Allen Brack's apology statement at BlizzCon. I'll cut right to it. This was not an apology. This was a calculated statement to win over applause from the people who already cared so much about the problem to shell out a bunch of money to attend BlizzCon. And to get headlines like, Blizzard boss apologizes for Blitzchung controversy. But he did not. He never mentioned Blitzchung, he never mentioned Hong Kong, all he did was spout a bunch of empty words in order to do the bare minimum to appear to have apologized. He said they'd do better in the future, but didn't say how. He said their actions would speak louder than their words, but made no promise of action. He said that one of the things that disappointed him most was that they didn't live up to the high standards they set for themselves. That was what he apologized for, not being as awesome as he normally is. And moving too quickly? What does that matter? What does that even mean? News for you, Mr. Brack. We don't care that you banned Blitzchung too quickly. We care that you banned him at all. And if you actually care about it, if you are actually, genuinely sorry, if you legitimately believe that you did the wrong thing, lift the suspension. This isn't something that happened in the past and is now over and done with. Blizzard is actively enforcing the suspension. It is a thing they are constantly, still, actively enforcing every day that Blitzchung isn't permitted to take part in tournaments. So, J. Allen Brack, if you really believe in the positive power of video games, wield it properly, because from where I'm standing, you had the opportunity to be Peter Parker, and proved instead that you're Eddie Brock. All of the power, none of the responsibility. So what can we do? Well, ultimately you have to decide for yourself what the right form of protest is here. I personally don't plan on buying any of these games at launch, maybe not ever. I encourage you not to jump on the hype, either. So what then? Maybe you buy the game used. I think a decent option is to wait a few months and try to get the game on sale. There are so many amazing games coming out lately. I won't speak for all of you, but I know that my backlog is so long that I am more than happy to have an excuse not to buy more games at launch. I think waiting for a sale is a good option because it keeps profits low and sends some kind of message, but it doesn't completely punish the developers for the actions of those above them, actions they had no control over. I don't want the discourse to become, if you buy insert Blizzard game here, you support the oppression of Hong Kong. I don't think that's true, and I don't think asserting that it is helpful. Like I said earlier, this whole thing is messy and complicated. There are layers here that speak to capitalism and corporate culture, that speak to political and social movements, and that speak to very specific ideologies and philosophies. I don't think there really is a right answer here, and I think Blizzard could still make steps to amend for this somewhat. I don't think they will, but they could. So I just wanted to put my opinion out there into the ether and encourage discussion. Do some research. Decide what is right for you. You may feel powerless, but every action, no matter how small, has consequences. And with even a little power comes a little responsibility. The world could always use more heroes. I won't be buying Overwatch 2. Are you with me?